Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to be doing the Synchro section now of the ban list because there's so much to talk about Synchros as far as, reasons why, because there's a lot of large combos, so I made it a separate video. But anyways, let's go ahead and go over the first Synchro that actually got banned. This is Dark Strike Fighter. This card was a very, very dirty card. It almost reminds me of Goyo Guardian, except for on a way larger scale. Goyo Guardian, sometimes it can be really dirty and it can burn you for the last amount of life points you had. Dark Strike Fighter, on the other hand, used to burn you for, 2,000 plus damage. It was really dirty when someone would Dark Strike Fighter you for game. There was actually a deck that basically revolved around Dark Strike Fighter, and it was called the Rescue Cat deck. So let me go ahead and explain to you guys what the combo was. So basically, it required you to have Summoner Monks. So you would actually summon your Summoner Monk, activate the effect, and then go for another Summoner Monk. Now with this Summoner Monk, you would activate the effect again, and then you would get a Rescue Cat. With this Rescue Cat, you would go for 2 X-Saber Arabellums. Then you would synchro up for 2 Dark Strike Fighters. You would attack directly with, if their field was blank, you could attack directly with both Dark Strike Fighters. Main phase 2, tribute the Dark Strike Fighters, it was exactly 8,000. And they would do this all the time. It was so dirty. And they played a lot of spells. There was variants that they would play like Smashing Ground. And, at that time in Yu-Gi-Oh!, a lot of players like to make Stardust Dragon because I believe Gale was at 3 at that time. And a lot of players used to make like Stardust Dragon, and then you'd Smashing Ground the one Stardust Dragon. The deck obviously played lots of back row hate as well, but at the time I believe Mystical was still at 1, so you were stuck with things like My Body as a Shield was actually a card someone played, and you were stuck with like Dust Tornado because MST and Night Beam, well, MST existed but it was at 1, and Night Beam didn't exist at the time. So you were basically forced to just, tribute your Stardust if you wanted to, and then what would happen was you would just get OTK'd anyways because Stardust would no longer be on the field. So the correct play would be leave your Stardust on the field if you can, but if they're smashing, obviously there's no reason why you wouldn't want to use the effect. But yeah, technically they can still run over Stardust because he's also 2,600 attack points. But generally he was used basically because he had the effect where he can tribute any monsters, and it's not like a once per turn. You can do it infinite amount of turns. So if you have one combo that I saw some people playing, but I don't think it was really that viable. It was Imperial Iron Wall plus Cobalt Hedgehog. You can infinitely Dark Strike Fighter that card and win like that as well. But yeah, Dark Strike Fighter is banned, and I think he'll be safe to stay on the ban list for like ever because he is really, really dirty. He was the card that stole games. But next up, we're gonna go over Goyo Guardian. A lot of players thought this card was gonna come back this format. Goyo Guardian is such a dirty card, so we're going to go over the effect real quick. So when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field in face-up defense position. Now, since it actually has to touch the graveyard, if you're playing any XYZ monsters, the XYZ material will actually detach. So, that is one reason why maybe people thought Goyo would come back because, a lot of XYZ decks are very popular right now and they're kind of dominant, and therefore if you Goyo Guardian, Exceed monster, it would not have the attachments. But this card can still be very dirty, especially if it steals like a Stardust Dragon or, anything that's large attack. This thing has way too much attack, and I think that was a problem when this card was designed. It was a level 6 that had 2,800 attack, plus the best effect out of any of the level 6s, because currently in the game, all we have for level 6s that are actually viable are Gaia Knight as well as Iron Chain Dragon. But there is this card coming out called Beastlord Vulcan, which actually might be like the new generic level 6 that people go to. It's probably one of like the better ones because Gaia Knight doesn't exactly have an effect. The only upside to Gaia Knight though, however, is you cannot Fiendish Chain him because he does not have an effect. So that's like 1+ to Gaia Knight if you go for a Gaia Knight. But yeah, there's also like Iron Chain Dragon, but I usually don't like to let my opponent mill cards because, usually cards in graveyard help. So, yeah, basically Goyo was like the go-to level 6 monster, and no longer can you make it. Plus, I mean, you could have technically Rescue Cat into like Arabellum and Dark Soul, and you could make Goyo Guardian and still have that. That's a pretty dirty play also. I believe that was still legal when Rescue Cat and X-Sabers were like a popular deck. Goyo Guardian was still a legal card, if I remember correctly. But next up, Brianak. Now, this card was insane. This card was at 3, I believe, when it first came out. And then really shortly after that, Zombies took off with this card. And this card would be insane if it was legal right now. I'm safe to say, unless they ban all the Atlanteans and a lot of the Mermails, this card could not come back. This card would absolutely destroy the game. So its effect is you can discard any number of cards to the graveyard to target the same number of cards on the field, return those targets to the hand. Now you can activate this effect as long as you have cards in your hand. They don't even have to be like water cards that you're discarding. It's just so good with cards like Atlantean Dragoons. You could go Atlantean Dragoons, add another water. You can go Heavy Infantry Marksman. You get so many pluses off of that. And on top of that, Brianak was a card that you usually went to for OTKs. Like before Effect Filler existed, basically whatever was on the field, that was your protection. You had Gores. Gores was like your go-to card. I believe Tragodia was out at the time when Brianak was still legal. Yeah, it was, in fact. But I'm not sure if Tragodia, I think it was at 1 at one point. Or I know it was at 3 at one point, but I think it went to 1 maybe, and then it went to 2. I don't remember exactly in Tragodia, but Brianak was a card where they would go for a game. And if you had a Tragodia, though, you were safe because they would bounce back all your cards and you had cards in your hand. But he destroyed Synchros, and he also kind of destroyed XYZ cards because, you know, same thing with Synchros. Like, Synchros and XYZs, you bounce them back and they go away forever. He kind of reminds me of, like, Compulse. Like, he basically is the Compulse in, like, monster form. Plus, he can bounce back, like, back row, too. He was the card you went to for OTK. However, I felt like this card was, in a sense, balanced at the time because when you went for Brianak, you usually had advantage anyways because you would have to discard your cards, and unless you're playing zombies, and in that case you could just discard things like Mizuki and then keep on like spamming more cards, which was kind of like a dirty play. Also, the Blackwings were popular at the time, so you can make this card really easy. Blackwings with Blizzard made this card, you know, really easy. You could discard things like Vayu. Vayu was a very popular card, believe it or not. A lot of players were playing 2 Vayu. At the moment right now, a lot of players are just playing like 1 Vayu, and I think that that's kind of how Blackwings changed. But at one point, when Brianak was legal, a lot of players did like to play like double Vayu. There's even some Vayu Turbo decks that actually did quite well in the game. But yeah, Brianak was a card I felt like usually if you made it at the right moment, you'd be able to go for game in most decks if you played it properly. This card is still a very good card, but it probably won't be coming back ever because all the new support for water is just absolutely insane. It's just too fast, and it would like destroy the game. Next up, Tritula. This card, oh my gosh, when this card came out, I remembered myself saying, no, the effect can't be real. So he does have a different requirement. Most of these are like 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuners. Tritula was actually different. He required 1 tuner plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters. And when a Synchro summon, you can activate this effect to remove from play up to 1 card from your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard. The card in hand is chosen at random. That was an insane effect. And also, the reason why I had Tiramisu is right here. It was to remind me that the reason why Tritula was like insane, not only was his effect really good, his effect does not target, which was like the thing that threw me off. I'm like, what? How does it not target? Don't you like select 1 card from their like graveyard and the field? It's because that card in the hand is at random, so therefore it doesn't target. And that was the big problem with Tritula. I felt like if he targeted his effect is still by far the best level 9. I mean, at the moment we have Mistworm. I'd rather just banish all their cards than give them back. And Tritula was really dirty, especially with Infernities. At one point, Infernities could get out triple Tritula, and there's other ways to just abuse Tritula. There was decks that could Tritula you infinite times. They would just desynchro, resynchro for Tritula. Even when Tritula was at 1, all they needed was 1 Tritula, and there was ways, as long as you made him with like tuning wear. Some even played like Dark Sea Flow. There was a whole bunch of builds with like machine duplication, and they were revolved around Tritula you over and over. In fact, there was one fish deck that could infinitely Tritula you first turn, and then you would be left with no hand. Kind of like if Windups got the loop off perfectly with like an Avarice play or something like that. Very, very dirty card. Plus, like you can use Debris Dragon and make it. I mean, all you would have to have is 2 Dandelion tokens, and then you go Debris Dragon into Dandelion, and then with your 2 tokens, you would be able to make a Tritula. And I think it's because, you know, Konami doesn't really like plants. That they've been killing this. They've been getting this deck so much hate forever. It's finally starting to go back. I mean, Debris Dragon's at 2. Spore is at 3. Why they put Spore back to 1 before putting it back at 3? I have no idea. I think that was just like a bad move on them. Who would want to run 3 Spore anyways? You can only use the effect of Spores once per duel. So I don't know. Maybe it was more so the plant hate. Plants took such a big like hit, and it makes me kind of sad because that deck it took a lot of thought process in order to play it correctly. Although once like Librarian came out, there was like so many like really broken things that you can do. Plus Quasar is still a nasty card, but it's cool. Lavals can make Quasar with 1 card, and that's fair, right? Yeah, so there's basically there's 4 Synchros at the moment that are actually banned, but I think that they all have their justifications. Maybe if anything can come back though, honestly, it would be Goyo Guardian, because Dark Strike Fighter, oh man, especially with the amount of like monsters you can spam on the field and how fast Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten today, this card would be bad. Obviously with the Atlanteans, this card is bad. As far as Trish though, it could be a contender too, though. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. These cards will have the better potential to come back. Dark Strike Fighter and Brianak really have like no chance. Brianak comes back, Water will be like the highest of highest tier decks, because you just be like, oh, just keep on discarding. Okay, search. Okay, add. Okay, pop. It's just there's just too many broken plays that Water can do. Just because Brianak is Water. Maybe if they make Brianak like a different type, like I don't know, maybe not Dark or Light though, because those archetypes have too much support. But maybe if they made it like only like a once per turn thing, or like you have to pay life points or something like that. But realistically, I don't think that they'll make another Brianak. He was the go-to 6 card. He was the best of the best. Goyo Guardian was good, but Brianak got you the win. Goyo Guardian got you the win by you know, as long as your attack went through and as long as you stole someone's monster, that was pretty good. Most popular thing to do is to steal Stardust Dragon. But yeah, like I said, these 2 cards have better chances to come back than these 2 cards. So if you're looking to pick up some banned cards to think that they'll come back, Goyo and Trishula are probably your best bet. I mean, in fact, a lot of people thought Goyo. Why is Goyo still $11? How much is Brio? Brio's only 3 on the low price. Dark Strike Fighters 2. I love it. This card was broken though. If any of you guys played some of the games for I don't know, Nintendo DS or any of the consoles, Dark Strike Fighter was such a dirty card. I hate when the computer pulled this off on me. But anyways, those are the reasons why the Synchros are banned. We needed to make a separate video because, like I said, the combos on this are kind of intensive. Like the Rescue Cat one is so dirty. Reminds me of when I played against this deck for the first time. I was like, how is this even legal? But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Asian Eyes signing out.